Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to talk about Super Meat Boy Forever. And Super Meat Boy Forever is the sequel to the original Super Meat Boy that came out around 10 whole years ago, and it plays both very differently and very similarly to the original game. And before we get into the review, I do just want to let you guys know that I was given a review copy of the game in order to make a video for you all. I never let that influence my reviews, I just like staying as transparent as possible for you all. So the first Super Meat Boy was a very solid platformer that was extremely challenging, but you kind of overall had control of your character. Super Meat Boy Forever, on the other hand, is an auto runner. Your character is always running at full speed in a specific direction, and all you can do is jump, do this like jumping attack, and do a sliding attack. At first, I really did not like this concept. I just wanted to be able to fully control Meat Boy like a normal platformer like in the original Super Meat Boy, and I was getting frustrated trying to play the game. However, as I started to get past the first couple of levels, the game started to make sense to me. The level design in the game is absolutely incredible and just as good, if not better, than the original Super Meat Boy. Each level in the game normally starts off introducing you to some new mechanic, like hooks or breakable glass or switches, and then as you progress in the level, the game makes you think about these elements in various ways by giving you really challenging and thought-provoking platforming stages. And then the further you get in each chapter, it starts mixing and matching some of the mechanics in the chapter to make things even crazier. And the platforming in this game requires just as much precision as the original, and on top of that, you overall just get good at the game. You know, you start learning how to chain your double jumps or wall jump and stuff like that, and just the longer you play, you know, even though it's constantly throwing interesting mechanics at you, you just start to get good at the game, and you can start reacting to some of the things the game throws at you on the fly because you just start getting better. And even though it's this own, you know, unique auto runner version of Super Meat Boy, it's awesome to be able to just get good at Super Meat Boy just like you could in the original. And also, like I was talking about the difficulty, the game does get really challenging the further you get. And there's a ton of content in this game. There's like over 7,000 levels according to the game, and I've played a crap ton of the game so far, but obviously I have not played over 7,000 levels at this point. But as far as I can tell, even real far in the game, even when it gets crazy super hard, it doesn't really feel unfair. I always knew or was able to figure out what the game was wanting me to do. It would just take me several tries sometimes to be able to fully complete it. And like one of the boss fights legit took me 40 minutes in itself to beat, but the whole time I knew what I needed to do. I just had to get good enough to do it all in one try without dying because it was a boss fight. And let me just say, the boss fights in this game are absolutely amazing. They're all completely unique and really dynamic. They aren't just traditional bosses or running segments like a lot of them were in the original game. They get tough as hell, but they are a ton of fun. And there's also a ton of collectibles and unlockable cosmetic characters, and then there's also the dark sides of all the levels as well. So if you really want to spend hundreds of hours in this game, you definitely could. Also, the new art style, the kind of cartoonified, look to the game really grew on me. The backgrounds also are absolutely gorgeous on some of the levels, and the soundtrack is full of bangers. And one of the most surprising things about the game to me was the story. The basic concept is that Super Meat Boy and Bandage Girl have a kid named Nugget, and that gets kidnapped by Dr. Fetus, and this part of the game is kind of predictable. You catch up with Dr. Fetus, and then he moves on to the next area, and it's very Mario-esque. The princess constantly being taken to a new castle. But there's like this subplot in the game of all of these animals and wildlife that have their homes destroyed and families killed because of all of the shenanigans that Dr. Fetus is doing, and so they kind of start creating an army and stuff like that. And I don't want to spoil too much or anything, and I'm still kind of, discovering some of it for myself, but it was just surprisingly interesting, and the animations in the game are really good. And my one complaint with the game so far is it's kind of small, but right now it came out on the Nintendo Switch and the Epic Game Store, so it's one of those timed exclusives for the Epic Game Store, and in itself, it's whatever. I'm kind of getting used to it, with Borderlands 3 and stuff like that. I still don't agree with it, but I tried to play the game with my controller, and it was just straight up not working, so I actually had to add the game to Steam as like add a non, Steam game to Steam, and then my controller worked perfectly fine. So if you're going to be playing the game before it comes out on Steam and you want to use a controller, you might actually have to add it to Steam unless there was something crazy wrong I was doing, but I looked up a bunch of stuff and, I don't know. So something small and something that, once it comes out on Steam, a lot of the people watching this review will probably just be getting it on Steam anyways, but just wanted to let you guys know if you are going to be getting it on the Epic Games Store, you might have to jump through a couple extra hoops. And overall, I could do some crazy, super huge, in-depth analysis on all the different areas and everything, but honestly, I think it's just best to say that I think the game is really, really fun and really well thought out. I was very skeptical of the auto-running mechanics and how that would play out, but all of the individual levels and chapters are unique, and the game constantly throws new interesting mechanics at you, and it reminds me a lot of Nintendo's game design. The level design in this game really carries the game, along with the charm and everything that Super Meat Boy has, but the level design is just crazy good in this game. So if you were someone that enjoyed the original Super Meat Boy, I think you should definitely pick this game up, even though it doesn't play exactly like the original game. And if you're just really into challenging platformers with great level design, you should definitely check this game out as well. Also, if you want to see a lot more gameplay of the game, I made a Let's Play before this review where I beat the first 2 whole chapters, so check that out if you're interested. But if you have played Super Meat Boy Forever or just from watching gameplay, I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. I make 3 to 6 game reviews and Let's Plays a week, and lately I've been working really hard on some end of the year award videos that you'll definitely not want to miss out on, so definitely subscribe and ring that bell like all the big boy YouTubers say to see them in the future. And if you're going to be grinding out some of these levels in Super Meat Boy Forever, I wish you luck and see you guys next time.